Yo, it's Ethan Zoid here. You might be thinking, who is this random person? Does he even play Raid? When has he ever made a video? You are right. I've been so out of competitive Raid, out of video making for so long. But recently I've been quite lucky. I've got some new toys, so I thought, hey, let's make a review of these things, right? And talk about mythical champions and a few more other champions. But I've been lucky enough to get Siegfried. I'll tell you why it's not a great champion. Been lucky enough to get a Mezomel, and I think the jury is still out on how good she is and how you might pair her. I think pairing is really important for Mezomel. And then I've been really lucky to get Garo. Garo is an insane champion. You can use him, or her actually, in so many ways. Very strong nuker, right? I would say that it's just one level below Taras. And then I managed to get Lady Mikage, and I managed to get a dupe Lady Mikage. So that's a bit annoying. But I would say that just because she's a fusion doesn't mean she's weak. And I would say she's probably one of the stronger mythical champions. And she also has great pairings. Pairings is very important for Lady Mikage. So I'm going to walk you through some of these champions. I'm going to talk about how they might be used. And because their mythical champions are double champions, they don't have a lot of skills per form, but across the two forms, you really have to think about how you might use them. So there's a lot of flexibility, right? In these mythical champions. I will also talk about one new champion I got that isn't mythical, but I think is mythical standard, and that is Sujin, or Susan as people call her. How to build her, how to use her, and she is insane. So I will start with actually Sujin. Why? Because if you have her, you can pair her with so many combinations, right? And here I've got her in 4-piece stone skin with the ring, and then just as fast as possible with some accuracy, right? Because I would use her in Hydra as well. She is extremely good. So she's arena focused, but you can use her in Hydra. You can see her aura, 30% speed aura, very good aura, probably second best in game. I've put her in temporal chains just to give her speed advantage. Her passive is to increase the champion's accuracy equal to the amount of speed they have, right? So again, build her as fast as possible with some native decent accuracy, and she is good. I've got her in accuracy chest and HP chest, and then accuracy banners. So she's got about 450 accuracy already. Then she's gonna add more accuracy to her speed, right? So she's decent. This skill is like a turn meter boost, so fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%, which is decent, and places increased speed 30% for 2 turns. Also has a 100% chance to decrease the turn meter for all enemies by 20% and a decreased speed debuff on them. So this is great for Hydra. This is great when she's fast, just to keep the turn meter advantage up, right? So this is a bit like a can't remember what their names are now. There's two or three other champions that do this. Brain's gone for the second. Lysandra is like a mini Lysandra, or maybe a little bit like a Lady Kimmy kind of thing, right? So build her fast. I've got her in stone skin just to give her some strength in debuffs, to avoid some debuffs and stuff like that. But really, you can just build her full speed if you want. And her A1, I'm going to go to her A2, which is a killer skill in a minute. Her A1 is attack one enemy, has 30% chance. When fully booked, I guess that's 50% chance to block active skills. I think this is pretty annoying as a skill, right? And it's an A1. Also has 80% chance to steal 20% of the target's turn meter if the targets are already under block active skills. Okay, you need to put them under block active skills first and let it remain there. So I feel like this is a strong A1. It's not something that will change the game, but it's annoying enough. Now, if you paired her, and this is why I'm talking about her first, before the mythical champions, she could be really, really annoying. So, for example, if you paired it with Lady Mikage, right? So Susan is Shadow King. Lady Mikage is Shadow King. And look at her A1. Attack one enemy with one random ally from the Shadow King faction. The ally joining the attack will use their default skill. Great. So if you paired it, you're going to keep, as long as you can, that they don't have block debuffs on, you can keep putting block active skills with 50% chance. That is super annoying. So her own A1 plus Lady Mikage being fast, build her fast, A1 is very annoying, right? Another one that you can pair with Lady Mikage, and I will come back to Susan in a minute, is Harima, of course, being also Shadow King. Very strong A1, defense-based, can place decreased attack debuff, and has 25 chance of placing a 50% decreased attack on all other enemies. Really great. Even if you ally attack someone random, you could put a decreased attack on their nuker, right? Very annoying. So these two pair really well with Lady Mikage. And you can imagine Lady Mikage also pairs well with, other Shadow Kings, right? But I think these two are the strongest Shadow King to pair with. Now coming on to her A2, and we will go to the Mythicals and how this pairs really well with some of the best nukers and mythical champions, which is target an ally. If the target ally is not under sheep debuff, okay, so if they're under sheep, it removes sheep. Okay, but once you're sheep, you're already pretty, screwed. So place increase attack, increase crit rate, increase crit damage for 2 turns. 2 turns is a bit low, ideally 3 turns. Then activates an instant turn effect on the target ally. This is insane. So it doesn't reset their cooldowns, but instant turn. Now you can build your nukers to be really, really slow and really, really powerful. So for example, this Mesomel build here, we don't have crit rate max because she also buffs her own crit rate. And we can get something like, for example, 8.4k attack, 361 crit damage, in this kind of savage set. We can also try to trigger instant turn on other slow champions. So for example, my +2 Georgid, which has 100% crit rate, 310 crit damage, and 9.88k attack, right? And remember, you're buffing their attack and crit damage and fulfilling their crit rate, and giving them an instant turn. And after instant turn, they're gonna, go to their own turn meter and get another turn. Right, so that's Susan. So I was able to get her just two or 3 days ago on the 10x. So I was very fortunate. I might build her to be faster than that, to be honest. But right now, I like the idea that she has some stone skin on her. Now I'm gonna review first Lady Mikage, then Mesomel, then Sigfund, and then Garou. Okay, I don't have the other mythicals. Then I'm going to play test all of them, right? So you might have to try to remember what their key skills are. But I'm going to try to remind you. Lady Mikage is unfortunately attack-based. Her base stats aren't bad. 21k. None of the mythical base stats are bad, right? But she's a support champion, right? That is attack-based. There's nothing unusual about that. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem with her is that she only has one good form, in my opinion, which is her base form. So it's good. She never has to really change out of her base form. But she has no revive. She has no block damage. She has no protection. She's entirely offensive support based. Okay, she's worse than Cardio because Cardio has this, unremovable revive on death, right? She doesn't have any of that. So what does she have? She has a great A1 that pairs really well with Shadow Kings, right? She has an A2 that is attack all enemies and decrease the duration of all enemy buffs, but only by 1 turn. And increase ally buffs by 1 turn. Okay, so it's just ally debuffs. Increase ally buffs by 1 turn, increase enemy debuffs by 1 turn, and reduces ally debuffs 1 turn. So reducing is great because you won't get risk of sheep here, okay? But it's not an amazing skill. The attack is more likely to trigger some kind of counter attack or anything like that, right? It's not useful, right? This is a great skill. Increase attack, increase crit damage, but it doesn't increase crit rate. And then teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. The allies join how use their default skill. So this is just a normal ally attack with a buff, right? Okay, but not insane. 4-turn cooldown only when booked, and you got to book these. Not great, right? This ignores a bit of resistance, only 20% though. So you still need some accuracy on her if you want to use this properly. Transforms into alternate form, I'll show you in that minute. That's something else that you might not even use. At the start of this champion's turn, remove all debuffs from the ally with the highest attack. This is nice. So if you pair her with something like a attack champion, somehow their block debuffs or something was stolen, for example, by a Uko or whatever removed, then it removes all debuffs. And that's kind of nice, right? So that when you do the ally attack, say even they have block buffs on them, you can buff them up proper. But this is only the champion with the highest attack. Okay, so it's not, everybody. So I feel like she's good, but all the insane skills are caveated, are weakened, right? You can easily see that there is a stronger version of this. That if they made this all champions, if they made this increased crit rate, if they made this ignore all resistance, that would be much stronger. If her A1 also paired up with other champions, not highest attack champion or something, she would be much stronger. Now let's look at her alternate form, the spider form. This is a nice form, I feel like, if you are in some kind of PvE setting. But maybe not even that, because it does stun. It does weaken. These are all things that are liable to get her sheeped. If she's immune to sheep, well, this form will be insane. But she's not immune to sheep. Decrease turn meter of the enemy champion with the highest attack by 15%. Ignore resistance. You don't need to ignore resistance against enemy nuker. This is the only strong skill. Attack one enemy, place sleep. But it requires accuracy, right? I wouldn't use her like this in arena. I think way likely to get sheeped, right? Every skill is a debuff skill, so no. I mean, I use her as an ally attacker, maybe with Harima or something like that. But, it's not that strong. It's not that strong. Okay, let's go to Siegfried. Siegfried is one of those champions that's really, really complicated. But I think Plarium overcomplicated him and made him weak generally. Right, I wish they made it less complicated but stronger. So he is a nuker-based champion in the base form, right? Attacks one enemy 2 times, blah, blah, blah. Attacks all enemies, pretty weak. Very weak multipliers, by the way. Resets the cooldown, blah, 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 if it kills an enemy. Attack one enemy or attack remaining enemies with surplus damage. It's not insane. Fully heals this champion if it kills an enemy, but, for nukers, they will die even if they're fully healed. The passive, if this champion is about to get killed by a fatal hit, blocks incoming damage and places block damage on this champion. Then heals this champion 50% of their max HP and fills their turn meter by 100%. So the whole idea is that if everyone's dead, Siegfried can survive, and Siegfried will revive everybody. That's the whole idea. So basically, he gets transformed into the alternate form, and then this is more like a support champion, revives all dead allies by 50% HP and turn meter, then places block damage on all allies except himself. He can remove all debuffs from all allies and heals allies by 30% and block debuffs, etc., etc. So this Fury form is kind of the support form, the healer, the revive form, and this is the kind of nuker form. But the problem is, you build him as a nuker, so he won't be great as a reviver, for example, in terms of speed and stats. So he'll get to use these abilities like once to save your team, but he'll die pretty quickly. And if you kill him first with like a Rhodos or something, he'll still die. So, I built him really slow Stone Skin. He's more like a reviver, like how you build a really slow double Stone Skin Marichka or Pythian or something like that. It's not really mythical standard, if I'm being honest, right? Like you wouldn't build him, I built him as a slow nuker, but he really isn't, that amazing. Like, he doesn't have any block revive. If he had a block revive on these weak hits, yeah, maybe, we wear the enemy down, they can't kill us all, and we, when they're on low health, we put a block revive on them. He doesn't really have that either. So he's pretty disappointing. Now we get to the less disappointing of the champions, which is Mesomel Lupafan. Mesomel Lupafan is like Brackus, a very strong offensive character, right? I've built her quite slow to pair her with, for example, some of the teams I have. I'll show you. She has some very strong skills. Let's start with her passive. Heals his champion to 100% of the damage inflicted. Places revive on death for 2 turns every time they kill an enemy. So that's very much like Kratraxa, right? She self-buffs. Places 50% increased attack. Okay, just on herself, unlike Brackus, which is on the team. Increased crit rate, increased crit damage on this champion for 3 turns. Gets an extra turn. That's fantastic. Okay, this is a really, really strong skill. That means you can build her with, 70% crit rate if you wanted. This is her A2. Attack one enemy 2 times to ignore Stone Skin, Strengthen, Ally Protection, and Shield buff. So this is very strong, very similar to Georgid. Places a block revive debuff if the target is killed. This is a strong skill. Okay. Problem is the multipliers are much less than Georgid. I think it's 4.1 or something like that, whereas Georgid is 6. Okay. But still, can target some kind of Stone Skin Nuker maybe? Or something like that. Attacks one enemy, places 60% decreased defense. Okay. So if we look at Georgid, this is the same skill. Attack one enemy will ignore Strengthen, Stone Skin, Unkillable, block damage, but also increase defense and Strengthen, right? So that's the difference. I think it's increased defense and Strengthen, right? Oh, no, it's increased defense and something else. What is it that Georgid does? Is it block damage? That also Georgid does, whereas Lupafan doesn't. Yeah, block damage. So if you're up against something like a Helicath, then Georgid goes right through, Lupafan doesn't. And that's relevant. Helicath does appear a lot in Arena. She also has 20% crit rate aura. So theoretically, you could build her, at 43% or something like this crit rate. But you probably don't want to do that. You probably don't want her aura in most battles. For this, for her alternate form, which I don't think I'll use, the passive is increases champion's attack and crit damage by 20% in this form. Very strong. Transform this champion into their base form. Attack all enemies 2 times. Okay, double hit her on a spirit champion though. Just bearing that in mind. Attack all enemy 2 times, places True Fear debuff for 2 turns. This attack will not trigger counterattacks. It's super important against Helicath, against any kind of counter-attacking champion. Will also ignore unkillable and block damage buffs. Okay, very strong, but requires accuracy for the True Fear, which might be a good thing. That you don't want any True Fear in Fear of Sheep, right? Attack all enemies. This attack will not trigger counterattacks. Place an extra hit on enemies under True Fear. Very strong, but I still feel this block revive base form is stronger. Okay, so we'll talk about her standard nuker masteries, etc. And then this is my favorite champion so far, the ones I have for mythicals, right? Not the ones I don't have. And I would say probably the second strongest mythical champion currently, or maybe third strongest because there's a new one, is Garou. Garou is the strongest nuker mythical champions by a long way. I've built her reasonably strong, probably my second or third best nuker set. If we go to her alternate form, just under 8k attack, 320 crit damage. Okay. So she has 2 forms. She has this offensive form, this volcanic, bloody kind of form, which is her nuker form. And then in her base form, which is annoying because she starts every battle in the base form, is some kind of support form. I generally don't use this form. So unless you're really struggling to survive. Remove block buffs. This is the base support forms. Block buffs from all allies. So that's very nice. And has a 50% ally protection or allies except this champion. So she is a protector. If she's struggling to survive, you probably don't want her to be a protector. And then places HP shield. But if you're building as a nuker, her HP is not going to be great. So you probably won't be using this, if I'm being honest. Attack on enemies places a provoke debuff on enemies for 1 turn. It requires accuracy. Okay, ignores a bit of resistance, but again, you probably don't want her to provoke everybody, do you? Maybe as a control. Also places unkillable buff on this champion for 3 turns. That's the only reason I might use this, just to give her unkillable. A1, increasing cooldown random skill. I wouldn't use this. I mean, it's nice, A1, but it's not something that you really want her to be for. When attack, decrease the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn, occurs once per hit. That's pretty strong for base form passive. Also heals all allies except this champion by 50% damage taken. Whenever this champion is hit, occurs once per hit. A bit like a Vogoth kind of thing. Again, you don't want her to be hit all that much if you're building her as a nuker. Now let's go for alternate form. Look at her power, by the way. Are the powers of all these mythical champions really high? Yeah, they are. Okay, good for accounts. Okay, this is the form. Only 2 skill, A1, A2, that's it, right? Let's look at the passive. Whenever an ally attacks, this champion has 25% chance to team up with them and join the attack. This can happen. This is really, really strong. So this is like a very similar to Ronda kind of skill, right? Okay. Let's look at A2. Then we'll go to the A1 for the joint attack. Attack all enemies. Damage of this skill increased by 10% for each buff on this champion, not the team. Similar to like a minor Taras, but will ignore 30% of the target's defense. That is extremely strong when in Savage set. Attacks all enemies. Has 20% chance of repeating the attack. This is really strong. So when she pairs up with ally attacks, when she attacks herself, basically she can repeat this. I've seen this repeated 3 to 4 times, basically. And that is an insane skill to repeat 3 to 4 times because it's an AoE. So very similar to Ronda again, right? But this is AoE. So you might not catch out the target that you're really hoping to kill, but you'll catch somebody out. These 2 skills will kill somebody, basically, generally speaking. And she can randomly just activate these kind of A1 AoE skills, right, multiple times. So you can build her really slow and she'll still be there thumping away. She's great for Hydra. I've had her out damage most of like Royal Guards and stuff by 2 or 3 times in Hydra. Very, very strong, Garrel. So let's go testing. I've talked a lot and I appreciate your patience. Let's go for testing. So let's get a fresh page. Okay, someone has a new, okay, so let's go for, I won't go for this team, let's go for this team maybe. So for example, you might try something like this. So this setup looks at how I can quickly, so if I go for this setup here, what do I try to achieve? I try to get my really slow nuker into action at 336 speed. Then just at 335 speed, I reset Susan's activation skill. And I reset Garrel's nuker skill as well. And then later I also have another ally attack. So the redundant champion here is actually Necrit. Like, you probably can replace Necrit with something else if you wanted, because you're locking the enemy's skills out. Maybe you want to replace Necrit with, let's say, some kind of block damage or something like that. Even like a Man-Eater. But here, I like Necrit. It gives some stability to the team, and it does block debuffs on the nuker. But you could even have Mikage, right? Because Mikage removes debuffs on the highest attack champion. Okay, so we activate immediately, right? We activate Garrel. And yeah, they have Stone Skin on, lucky them, but Look at that. Look at that damage even the on Taras. We lock out skills so they can't do anything. And this gives it some stability. And then we activate again. Look at that. Increase attack, increase crit rate, increase crit damage. All those buffs. Dead. Okay. Even with talking, under 40 seconds. Let's pick some other... Let's pick this. Now, let me show you the default, which is the double Georgid build. Okay. But what happens if we... So here the idea... I'll show you this idea, how it works in my classical setup. Then we're going to bring in Mesomill in and see how that might change the setup. So I will almost win this and then lose it, right? Very strong Georgids. I have very strong Georgids. Okay. Look at that. 545 damage. Woo! Bye-bye. I don't even want to lose this. I'll show you. Look at that. 278. And if I do A2 here, trust me, I will win, okay? Just trust me. If I do A2 now, I will win this game under like 40 seconds. But I will lose this, and then I will replace now my weaker Georgid with Mesomill. Okay, so you saw Georgid's damage, burst damage there. 545k, nothing really survives that, okay? Okay, now I'm gonna replace this with Mesomill. Okay, so the idea is that I can do a block revive. Like if this was more resilient and had a better revive options, like with one Taras or and the other one being a Siphi or something, this can block revive. That's the only way I see, only one of two ways I see Mesomill really working. So the first Georgid will do the heavy lifting, and the second Mesomill will come in and try to like, block revive, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here we go. Same idea. Okay. 535, very reliable. Comes in with A2, takes them all out. Okay, now it's Mesomill's turn. Mesomill, see if she can kill. So she will put increased crit rate, increased crit damage. Here's her A2 unbooked. Not too bad, 100k, 110k basically. Not too bad, but no follow-up, right? No follow-up, no block damage or unkillable. She dies. She had a revive on death, but gets killed again. Okay, so I can revive her with Veil on, normal Veil on. I can do this, and now I can do that. Okay. I would say I'm not going to replace my other Georgid, but you can see why it might work. So let's try this again with something that has more passive ignore damage, right? So here that they have both Harima and Viking Song Lady. Okay, so they don't have Taras. So lots of... Let's see how much Georgid does, and then let's see how much Mesomill follows up. Okay, so they got all their buffs up. Still not bad, 98k. Takes out Viking Lady. Self buffs. Okay, now let's see. What can we do here? Convention would be that I should take out Harima, to be honest. But I'm going to try it on her and see what happens. Not too bad. Now, Duchess can't revive. Okay, so it's not too bad. But I suspect they're just not built that well, okay? Okay, now, oh dear. This Georgid is really carrying, if I'm being honest. Okay, let's try a few other things. Let's go against this one. I'm worried that they have a really fast harass, like a 300 speed, 320 speed harass, that's all. Everything else is okay. Okay, not too bad. Let's see how much... Is there reaction on that UDK? No, the UDK is gone. Yeah, UDK is dead. 600! Woo! New record! New record, baby. 600k. But hardly any damage, right? And then there's almost 0 health now. So bad. Oh, dearie me. This is where Mesomail really sucks. You're just like, what the hell? I mean, look at that for Georgia. Much stronger. Again, A1 can't even kill anyone. Like, what the hell? This is where I think for a mythical champion, nah. Not that strong. Not that strong. Strong under certain conditions, but generally, I would still prefer my weaker Georgid over that. Let's try against Rat Spring. This is one of the people online that has blocked me for some weird reason. Like... I think he's been quite lucky. He's got all the decent champs, right? Okay, spread things up. So let's see if we can take out the UDK. 127. Okay. No problems. UDK's back up. We do this. Double hit. I don't think I'll take out the Pythian, even if the first hit I land on UDK. So I might as well just probably take out UDK and get a block reviving. That's probably better. So we don't have to deal with the UDK again. Yeah. Oh, wrong button. Shit. Oh, that's alright. It's got SP gear. Okay, take out you. Block the revive from the UDK. Very strong Pythian. Okay, let's put this up. This will be over if I'm using my normal Georgid, but let's go for ultimate form. We've used up all our cooldowns, so this is a double hit. Let's have a look at this. True Fear. Okay, it's kind of nice. Oh, cleansed. No, I think the alternate form is pretty Papega, to be honest. Oh dear. This is kind of interesting too. So let's go back to something like this, maybe. But let's replace Garou with Mesomail and see how does Mesomail do in a block revive kind of situation, okay? So similar setup. Let's go. So we go this. We I think he's got crit rate already, so I don't need to do any more. I can just try to target. Get rid of you. Yeah, block revive you. Lock skills. Okay. Might be useful. Activate. Okay, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe this is my new thing. Oh. This doesn't hit, which I really love. See, when you hit, it's annoying. Okay, so I buff myself again. Oh, this is going to be painful, isn't it? This is where the problem is. That Veil on Terrace. So annoying. Oh man, this is so annoying. How did they manage to get... Is it because that Duchess is really fast? I mean, I thought I locked skills on that. Maybe go for alternate form. Yeah, this is rubbish. What happened? Like, I thought I had locked skills on that. Give me a second. Let me try... Okay, I'm gonna... I'm gonna try this setup slightly differently. So, recently used. I'm gonna go for this. And then I'm gonna go for Stone Skin version, just so... That should be okay. Yeah. So the Duchess is faster than my lock skill, or I just had a 3% resist? Let's have a look at this again. Yeah, maybe it was just a 3% thing. So I take you out first. Yeah, so where did they get Veil from? I understand. Take out Duchess. Can't take out Duchess. That's a problem. That's the one I wanted to demonstrate, that this is bad. If you can't take out Duchess, that's not on reaction. You have a problem. That's a problem. Look at that damage. It's just nothing. Nothing. And now they have Veil up now because it's taking so long just to kill like a Duchess. And the block revive is not like across the whole thing. It's block revive just on that one skill. Basically, it needs thingy-majig to... Having Susan Sheet is also hilarious. Basically, it needs to... Oh, God. Can I get a block revive on a sheet? How can we block revive on a sheet? Nothing. This is rubbish. Now everything's fucking revived. Yep. Still can't. Look at that damage. Did it even damage it? I'm not even sure. I don't understand. Didn't even kill it. That's the thing. Can't kill it. It's just fully buffed. Like, with the buffs, it must be close to like 390 crit damage. Lost. That's it. That's the problem. It can't kill anything. Like if I change this to exactly the same version, right, with Garrow. The problem with Garrow is that it's AoE against Marriage, right? But it is so much stronger. Look at that. Look at that damage. That burst damage from Garou is just insane. You don't need to worry about Garou. Like, it's just like, it can do whatever. Look at that. It's just like a whatever champion. Ally attack now. It doesn't have to block revive, but if the block revive doesn't work, look at that. Just randomly attacking everybody. Easy. That's Garou for you. It's just like la 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 la, whatever, right?